Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and today, again, we're looking at some more expanded. There was a big Japanese expanded tournament. Again, Japan's format is a little bit different than the international format, but it's not that different. I don't think we're going to be looking at any cards that aren't out in English like we did in the last expand video I looked at. But yeah, it's essentially the same format. And today we're going to be looking at two different decks, two lists for each deck as well. The lists are different, certainly, and we'll see that. And um, they're both lightning decks, so they're not actually very similar, but I decided just to group them together to give us a good amount of lists to look at. As I said, four lists, and let's just start off with this deck. This is Alolan Raichu Electrode GX, I guess. Alolan Raichu has its attack here, Electro Rain. Oh, and also one last thing before we get into things. Down below, I have a survey about some Pokemon DCG formats. I want to get your thoughts on that. And I want to do a video. It's like an iceberg style video if you've seen those, where it's like, oh, the stuff that most people know and then the stuff that most people don't know. So anyway, Alolan Raichu here though, let's just hop right into things. With Electro Rain, discard any amount of lightning energy from this Pokemon. For each energy that you discard in this way, choose one of your opponent's Pokemon and do 30 damage to it. It doesn't hit weakness or resistance, which is fine. So yeah, and then I actually want to pull up Starmie. This is a little different, and it's essentially the same except it says for each energy card you discard in this way, but Raichu does not, Alolan Raichu. So you can discard reversal energy or counter energy, which if you're down on prizes, which you will be, give multiple energies, and so then they each give, multiple as opposed to just one because they're only one card. So in this list, then we run Electrode GX, and extra energy bomb does you may attach up to 5 energy cards from your discard to your Pokemon in any way you like, except GXs and EXs, which doesn't really matter. But then you knock yourself out. And yeah, that's not great. I'm taking a quick look at these lists, and so you give up 2 prizes, which is well, that's more than zero and more than one. It's a lot. So you can only do this twice. You could technically do it more, but you'll probably lose if you do it more. And so you accelerate a lot of energy, though, 5 energy. So you want to accelerate 10 energy, you knock yourself out twice. And that'll be 4 reversals, 4 counter energies, and 2 unit energies. Maybe some more unit energies if you can attach them. Of course, prizing, you'll probably prize a reversal or a counter or something, but that's fine. And so you go ahead and accelerate a lot of energy. And that's going to be, let's say, um, for a so let's say like 4 reversals, 3 counters, 2 units or something. You're potentially doing like 20 times 30, right? So you're doing like in this six. Wait, what did I say? 20 times 30. Yeah, 600s. What? I don't think I counted that right. Um, 3, 5. Yeah, no, you can do that much. So you can do like you're hitting in like the 600s. I know that's how much you're doing. So and that's like pretty good. So yeah, I was like struggling to do that. So you're hitting like in the 600s, and that's good. But also, is that enough to win your game? Because this is literally the only attack. Well, it's essentially the only attack you're going to be doing, only damage you're going to be doing. So you need to win the game off of that. But you look at something like the Dene GX or like Crobat V. You knock out 3 Crobat Vs, you win the game. You can do that in 20. No, what is it? In like you can do it like 18 energies, right? Crobat V, when you divide by 30 is going to be 6 times 3. So you got yourselves 18 energies, right? So you need to do a bunch of energies. That's kind of what you're looking to hit. Giga Mimikyu. Also, sorry if there's background noise. I hope you can't hear it. I don't think you can. I know I can, though, and it's bothering me. But 240 here, you got to do you gotta get rid of like 16 energies with Gengar Mimikyu, but a lot have higher HP as well. So if your opponent's running something, you don't need to knock out all their Pokemon, though if you do, you obviously win, but you need to knock out usually a lot. So if they have low HP targets like Squawkabilly EX, Tapu Lele GX, Crobat V, Dedenne GX, things like that, then it's really good for you. But if they don't, then it's not so good. Especially if you're looking at um, like V stars. That's like kind of rough. But everything other than V stars and stage 1 EXs and stage 2 EXs, you should be fine. And those aren't that popular. I'm just gonna pull up the tournament results. Yeah, so you're looking at like Lugia V-Star isn't so good because you don't hit it for weakness, and it's not great. Regidrago V-Star, but you can beat them because you can knock their Pokemon out as well, and so, but you need to go all in on this one attack. But then you also have some other stuff to delay your opponent. You have Detonate, well, let's see, you have Gengar, Mimikyu, and Whismur. I guess Gengar Mimikyu, its GX attack, just stops your opponent from attacking, which is, or no, not from attacking, from doing literally everything else. So they just can't play any cards. The GX attack. Whismur, on the other hand, is not a GX, but it says they can't play any trainers, which is still most of their cards, but this is only if you go second, turn one. Klefki, if it's in the active, basic Pokemon in play have no abilities except for this one, and keep in mind this will turn off your own basic abilities, which isn't exactly ideal. Then you do have Ditto Prism, allowing you to evolve easier. You have a bunch of Pokemon, Tapu Lele GX, Squawkabilly EX, two Crobat Vs, two Dedenne GXs, in the big bench with Skyfield. You tap Telescopic Sight, lets you do some more damage. Battle Compressor, really fun card, just discards a ton of Pokemon from your, or cards from your deck that can be Pokemon, probably Energy, though, to get those in the discard for Electrode. And yeah, you just kind of turbo. This is a very good deck. This other list has some different stuff. It runs Unknown, which kind of turbos, and Flutter Mane, which is kind of like Klefki, but not the same. Giratina to do some extra damage, and Marshadow to bump stadiums because certain stadiums could be a problem. Outside of that, it's pretty similar though. I would do a whole video on this, but one, I've talked about this deck before on the channel, and two, like that's all there is to say about it. You just do this massive amount of spread that hopefully is enough to win you the game in one attack. Also, if your opponent runs Mew from or any bench barrier card, there's some Manaphy in the one deck. That won't end so well for you. You can technically win, but can you? I don't know. It's very hard to win. But let's move on to the next two decks, which are the same type of deck. We'll start with this one. This one didn't perform quite as well, but still did pretty well. 11th out of 750. I mean, it's not bad. And Iron Thorns EX, you can see it actually was played in a Vileplume control deck. We looked at that in the previous expanded video. But yeah, this is Iron Thorns EX. If it's in the active, your opponent's Pokemon in play, or sorry, any Pokemon in play with the rule box don't have abilities. So, except for this, or any future Pokemon. And then Bolt Cyclone 140, Lightning Colorless, colorless, movement energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon, which is really good. And then we also have Wobbuffet, a classic Pokemon with Bide Barricade. If it's in the active, each player, all the Pokemon have no abilities, so except for Psychic Pokemon. Its attack, though, 10 more for each damage count your opponent's active is not as good. Outside of that, I mean, what do we have going on here? We got Lusamine, Faba, Plumeria, Team Player Grunt, Team Rocket's Handiwork. Wait, what even is this card? Okay, so I said there weren't any cards that weren't out. What is this card? Palace Book? Draw 3 cards, your turn ends. What? I've literally never seen this card in my life. Okay, apparently this is a card. Yeah, what? Apparently it was played and expanded in Japan a few other times. Just what? What? Wait, is this expanded or is this standard? Uh, I don't. Anyway, so what am I looking at? This I've never seen this card before. Okay, that's a card. It's kind of like there are other cards like it, like Order Box. If you're playing standard, you could just run that, or if you're playing internationally. And then we have Reset Stamp. So the other lists random. I'm assuming they're on computer search. I didn't actually check. The previous lists we were looking at though, in the last video with Vileplume, which I'm actually recording a little before this, but in the same day, they ran new upper energy, which was really interesting. But yeah, they ran computer search. Computer search is a really good it's a really good ace spec. But then unfair stamp, each player shuffles their hand into their deck if one of your Pokemon is knocked out last turn, and then you draw 5, your opponent draws 2. And then, yeah, you just Wobbuffet and Iron Thorns, and then you just disrupt them and annoy them, and you have lots of supporters. Um, yeah. Oh, sorry if you can hear the background. It is getting louder. What is happening? Okay. Anyway, oh, and you have Wondrous Labyrinth, which increases attack cost, Chaotic Swell to stop ability lock outside of the ability lock you want. To stop ability lock that'll actually turn back on abilities is what it's doing, as well as a few other things. And then, yeah, just a lot of energy disruption, and you attack. Speed, lightning energy, capture energy, counter energy. They can just like pay your attacks. and you just attack and attack and attack, and eventually you win. Your opponent decks out, or, something happens. This is pretty interesting as a concept. It's probably not so interesting to play against, but it's pretty good. The deck is infinite. I was just checking. You can Lusamine for Lusamine and Cynthia and not deck out, and yeah, that's about it. Next, we got one more deck, and this deck plays a card that I honestly wasn't sure. I thought it might have been banned and expanded. I think it should be banned. I made a whole video about this card and said like it should be banned because it's I usually don't care about accessibility. I care about accessibility of cards, but I also like proxy and stuff. If I play IRL usually because Pokemon cards are expensive. A lot of people say, oh, they're not expensive because they're less expensive than Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, but compared to like normal games that aren't like collectors items, they're expensive. The Tropical Beach is an extreme version of that. This card is what's a world's promo, I guess is what I call it. It's essentially impossible to get. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult. I thought it was banned in Japan, but yeah, anyway, it's certainly not banned internationally, but it doesn't really matter. It's kind of like that other card from Japan that what was that deck? I don't know, that really weird one with Palace Book. It's kind of like that, which is not obtainable internationally because it doesn't exist. But anyways, enough rambling on about that because this is a lightning deck. This is I should say it's a true lightning deck. It's not, but it runs speed lightning energy as was the other one. It runs Garbodor for full ability lock. If it does a tool attached, just complete ability lock. It's brutal. It's really good. And on top of that, we got Vikavolt V, which is item lock. So you item lock your opponent, then ability lock, and then there's add, and then excuse me. Now you can also Luxray V. Some of you are familiar with this card. Your opponent reveals the hand. Discard a trainer you find there. You could also paralyze, but probably don't do that. That is not fun to have to deal with. And you got double colorless to pay your tax. And with double colorless, you can use our first tag team we're covering in this series. Lucario and Melmetal, Full Metal Wall GX. For the rest of the game, ignore that first part. But pretty much you discard all your energy from your opponent's active, which is kind of hard to deal with sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. You also become tankier, but whatever. Guzman Hala, tag team stuff going on here. Lots of tag team supporters. I mean, I don't know. There's not too much to say about it. It's a lot of energy disruption. Plumerio's energy disruption. Faba's energy disruption, and other stuff. Enhanced Hammer is energy disruption. And you can recover stuff. Cynthia Caitlin, Lusamine versus Seeker. Lots of supportive recovery. You can Iono N to disrupt your opponent. Guzma for like disruption, gusting. It does a bunch of things. Guzman Hala, again, searching for that Stadium, a tool, which can be TM Evolution as well, to grab Garbodor, or Floatstone, which you just stick on Garbodor. And then the Special Energy, which are all pretty good. Again, Tropical Beach is a card that you can't get. Thunder Mountain reduces your Prism Star, so only one Thunder Mountain allowed to be played, reduces the attack cost of your Lightning Pokemon by 1 Lightning, which is super good as well. Yeah, so some really interesting stuff going on. Just wanted to make this video highlighting some of the lightning decks. I figure this is a good grouping. Some of the more straightforward decks as well, with not a ton going on. Kind of some of the normal expanded stuff that's a little toxic. The two decks, as I said, we got let's find it again. We have the where is this? Raichu Electrode combo, which is just this unstoppable combo unless you stop it. Incredibly swingy. There isn't really much counterplay. And then Iron Thorns, which is just like not fun to play against. So, Vileplume Control last video looked a bit more of an intricate deck with complex decision making. Not super complex, but more complex. There's some very complex decision making, some less complex decision making. Because obviously you Vileplume, but then outside of that was supporters and stuff. But then Raichu, Electrode, and Iron Thorns are they're not as complicated. Yeah, you just kind of do your thing. But upcoming videos, I will be covering Regidraco, and then I'll probably cover the rest of these decks all in one video. But I hope you enjoyed. If you did, consider liking, subscribing, kicking the bell, all that good stuff. I'm going to be doing some more content in the future. I've got some really big plans coming up. I'm busy this week, but then things are lightening up, so I got some really exciting stuff planned. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.